everyone. Thank you for joining our panelist discussion this evening. The first question is going to be going to Sharina Jones. Sharina, the question is, as a peer specialist, what is your process for bringing in discussions of spirituality, religion, and mental health in the work that you do? What skills and techniques do you use to bring up this discussion in a safe, helpful way?
Thank you for this question, Lenny. My process for bringing in discussion of spirituality and religion is to read the room. Pretty much, I go with the flow of the environment, make sure I use I statements, and share my personal experiences. The skills I use is patience, empathy, and an open mind, leaving room for others and understanding.
Thank you, Sharina. That was an excellent answer to this difficult question. Okay, the second question is going to go to Valeria. Valerio, how are you this evening?
I'm good, Lenny. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Yeah, this question says, culture also influences expressions of religion and spirituality. How do you respectfully ask questions to gain a better understanding of someone's background and how that influences their experience?
Having cultural humility is really important to think about when we try to talk about really sensitive topics. Culture shapes how people understand themselves and the world around them. So we have to approach our actions with anyone with a lot of humility and self-awareness. It's important to make a habit of checking in with ourselves first, to check our own assumptions, to notice where our beliefs or cultural lens are coming from. And this helps lessen the possibility of projecting our own beliefs and thoughts and values onto the other person. So until I get to know a person, I generally ask the easier questions, things like what they like to do in their spare time, what helps them when they're feeling discouraged, etc., rather than ask directly about their spiritual, philosophical, or religious backgrounds. Then, as we get to know each other, I wait and see what that person wants to share about themselves, and then we can begin to engage.
That was an excellent response. Thank you so much, Valeria. We're going to go on to Sharina again for question number 3. What are your personal boundaries around religion and spirituality, and how do you figure out what those boundaries are?
Awesome question, Lenny. My personal boundaries around religious and spiritual discussion is making sure I say no. If I don't want to discuss the topic, I don't. Excuse me, letting those around me know I'm protecting my personal space because safety for myself and others are important. How I figure out what the boundaries are is again by reading the room and going by how I feel and to make sure that I'm comfortable and others around me are comfortable.
Thank you very much, Sharina. We're going to move on to our fourth question, and this is for Ryan. Ryan, does your approach change if a peer identifies as an atheist or agnostic?
Thank you, Lenny, for the question. Yeah, that's an important one to think about. So when a peer identifies as atheist or agnostic, our approach doesn't really change because the foundation is the same. We're exploring their worldview, not trying to introduce or validate any particular belief system. So everyone has a framework they use to make sense of the world. For some people, it's spiritual. For some people, it's grounded in reason or science, ethics. For some, it's community. For some, it's personal values. And atheism and agnosticism are worldviews too, right? And we can treat them with the same respect and curiosity as any other. So what does shift is the language we use. Instead of asking about spiritual practices, we might ask about what helps them feel more connected or more grounded or supported. We can focus on meaning making in whatever form that takes for them. So we can ask certain questions like, what helps you stay steady when things feel overwhelming? Or are there values or principles that guide you when you're struggling? Another simple one would be what gives you a sense of purpose or direction. And then also, we need to stay aware of the fact that some people have had negative or invalidating experiences around religion. And so I'm careful not to assume that spirituality is a helpful or neutral topic. I just check in before I go there and then let them decide what's relevant. So the goal is the same no matter what someone believes, right? It's to understand how their worldview shapes their experience and then to support them in exploring it on their own terms.
Thank you so much, Ryan. That was an excellent response to the fourth question. The fifth question is also going to go to Ryan. Ryan, many peers have experienced religious trauma or spiritual trauma, which may have influenced their feelings of safety around these topics. How do you bring this issue up when discussing religion or spirituality for the first time?
Thank you, Lenny. Yeah, this is an important one. I can definitely relate and identify with this myself. So when we're talking about religion or spirituality for the first time, we have to assume that there could be trauma in someone's history, even if that isn't said directly, because that's part of being trauma informed, right? That's trauma informed peer support. A lot of people have been harmed, excluded, or controlled through spiritual or religious environments. So we need to approach the topic with a lot of care. So we could ask things like, people have all kinds of experiences around religion and spirituality. Some feel supportive, some feel really painful. I want to make sure that we move in a way that's safe for you. Or these topics can bring up a lot for folks. Is it okay if we talk about how this shows up for you? And you can tell me what feels comfortable. So that kind of framing gives the person permission to set boundaries without having to disclose anything that they're not ready to share. We can also keep our questions broad and open so they can decide how much to reveal. So again, instead of asking about specific beliefs or practices, we could ask, how have your past experiences shaped how you feel about these topics now? Or is there anything important for me to know about how religion or spirituality has shown up in your life? So throughout the conversation, we can watch for signs of discomfort, including changes in tone, body language, or energy, and check in if we notice anything shift. So the goal isn't to get the story, right? It's to create a space where they feel in control of the conversation. And our role is to make room for whatever their experiences have been, including the possibility that these topics don't feel safe or helpful. And then the priority is always emotional safety, right? Emotional safety, choice, and honoring their pace wherever they are at the moment, meeting them where they're at.
Thank you very much, Ryan. That was an excellent response to question number 5. I'd like to thank the participants for answering these questions this evening. Thank you.